what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to join the panel, you can click the link in the info box below the video once you have muted your watch page. If you'd like to support the show, there's a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows, and there's a PayPal link in the info box below the video. We are joined by quite a whole bunch of people. We have got Sleeping Warrior, Spurs Chemo, Jose, John, James, Eric, Chocolate Sane, and Arwin. Good to have you all.
Hola.
Good evening.
Buenos dias.
Hey, before we start out, I've been waiting to basically show this ever since James joined and then endlessly rambled on, and I never got to do it. But yeah, when he talked about PSI and his interpretation of how pressure is supposed to be like exerting pressure just in midair and not actually on a physical surface. And I think I found an example of this, and I'd like to present it.
Oh, go ahead, Arwin.
So yeah, I think that this comes pretty close to what he was talking about. You can see this.
That's cool.
See?
I see.
That is actual PSI in midair. Pressure against the air. So I think that, well, if you're seeing what this here is, a pretender clown, I think this fits James' profile perfectly.
Thank God you've changed your tact from arguing their position and now you're ridiculing it. Fair play, Arwin. That's exactly what you need to do. Well done.
You guys are silly, man. Just because you guys are 8 against 1 doesn't mean that you're right. There's obviously pressurized system.
Dude, listen.
Without needing container. If you ever let a balloon go up in the air,
James,
do you ever let a balloon go up in the air? You notice it pops at about 20 miles.
James, listen.
Right? That's without a container.
James, let's say that we're wrong, right? You do not have the evidence to support your position. So it doesn't matter whether we're wrong or not. You can't prove that you're right, and that's the point.
I brought the data.
The data doesn't mean...
You brought a chart.
Okay, I've got to give this example because it was on the last show. So we explained to James that what he's doing is we are asking him to see a picture of his girlfriend. His girlfriend's name is Pressurized System Without a Container. That's her full name, right? And we said, can we have a look at your girlfriend, Pressurized System Without a Container? And he said, yeah. And then he goes and brings up her profile page and shows us the stats and her measurements and her bra size and her shoe size and her favourite drink. And we go, we'd kind of like to actually see her. And he's gone, I've shown you the data. It's extremely well measured. No, we'd just like to see the girl.
There's smart dudes on this panel. I know there is. And so if you imagine that there is a dome and there is a container.
Just imagine we've got this girl in front of us. She's beautiful. She really is his girlfriend. Just imagine her. We're not going to show you her, but imagine what she looks like. She truly is beautiful. We've seen all of her vital statistics. We've seen all of her measurements. She's beautiful, man. It's just we want to see her. Can you show us your girlfriend called Pressurized System Without a Container? We'd like to see her, please, in the flesh.
I found a picture of James' girlfriend. Just present me and you'll see.
James, you understand that those are the questions that we're asking, right?
No, but there's an answer for that. And there's no container.
We've been given an answer for that. But
that doll was clearly a container, Arwin. Foul.
I mean, you guys are the ones suggesting there's a container without any proof whatsoever. And I'm showing you that it's much more likely that there's no container because there's evidence that there's not a container.
Really? We've seen evidence of containers, i.e. a bicycle tyre. So unlike this girl that you've got vital stats for that you're asking us to conceptualise, when I asked people to conceptualise a bike tyre, no one said they couldn't do that. But we're saying we are incapable of conceptualising that entropy stops existing, that you can have a vacuum next to a pressurised system. And you're saying, well, it's just obvious. Look at my numbers.
No,
look at her bra size. Look at her shoe size. Look at how accurately I've measured her neck. Well, no, I just want to see her, please. Can you show us your girlfriend who's called pressurized system next to a vacuum? Can you show us her?
Yeah. If you go even further down, it's like 1/1,000,000th of a PSI, okay? And if you think that's not close to 0...
If you think we haven't measured her neck perfectly, right, we've got it measured perfectly. She's got a 14-inch neck, and we know this implicitly. We've measured it with lasers, so we know her neck is 14 inches. We've measured it. Why are you so stupid not to accept that my girlfriend's neck is 14 inches? It says it right here on the chart. We'd rather just see the girl, please. Can you show us your girlfriend called pressurized system next to a container? We'd like to see her.
I showed you the picture of her already.
Again, we've seen the picture of her. We'd like to see her. Don't you get it? We want to see the picture. Nah, we want to see her. Not the vital stats, not the profile page. We want to see the girl.
Nathan,
so explain
stop. Let Spurs repeat what he was just about to say. Spurs, say that again.
I'm just trying to get Coach. I mean, I think Coach, I don't know if he's going around in circles on purpose, but if he understands, if we made the claim, you know, we can see, we have a wall, there's a dome.
Right, you are making that claim.
Yeah, but if we were to say there's a wall, there's a dome, and you were like, well, let me see the dome, let me see the wall, and then we just gave you the parameters, the numbers, the data, you would still want to see it to confirm that it's true. Well,
no, honestly, if you gave me that data, I would probably take it. And actually, I'd like to see if you guys have any data about this dome. I really would love to hear about it.
Sorry,
because
we would rather just see pictures of it, you know, to confirm it's actually there. Actually show us it. So I don't know about domes because I'm not being shown pictures of them. But that's not really the point. He's making a comparison that if we were to say there's a dome, people would demand that we show them it.
Could we give data is what I'm asking about a dome.
Yeah, you could. You could. If you notice that there was pressures that were getting larger or staying uniform.
Pressure is the proof of the dome.
Yeah, if you notice there's a uniform pressure.
Sorry, can you just bring back up your chart? Because I think you've mistakenly identified that as some proof of gravity or pressurized system next to a container. Because actually that chart that you brought up was proof of dome. Didn't you realise?
No, it's the opposite.
No, it's not. You've just misinterpreted the data because you're stupid. That's proof of dome. Those stats prove dome. Don't you get it, Dumbo?
Okay, where's the pressure?
Yeah, okay, so we've got proof of dome. So you're happy to accept our proof of dome based on the stats that you provided, because that is what they are. I am telling you. That's what those numbers prove. They prove she's got a 14-inch neck and a dome over her head. Okay, retard?
No, he says...
What do you mean, no? I'm telling you. Those stats prove dome.
No, they don't. Where's the...
Yeah, they do. You're just too dumb to get it. You're misinterpreting the data. They prove dome.
Really?
Yeah.
Where's the pressure against the dome, Nathan?
It doesn't need one.
It's a magical dome that doesn't need pressure. It's obvious. You just have to conceptualize it because I say so. I'm not going to show you the girl. You just have to accept it because I say it's logical and obvious, right? It's logically and obviously a dome based on the stats that you've shown me. I've extrapolated from your stats. Fact. Dome based on those numbers.
I agree. He's got data for a dome.
Yeah,
no,
absolutely.
You have data for the opposite of a dome.
Oh, really? Well, it seems that we've got a conflict here. We're saying your data says dome. You're saying your data says vacuum of space. How can we've got this conflict? How could we solve this conflict? Maybe you could show us some actual evidence of the vacuum.
You guys are just agreeing with each other.
No, we're saying that there is a conflict. We say your data proves dome. It's a bit like the ring laser gyro. We say it proves ether spin. You say it proves earth turn. Well, it'd be useful to just see the earth turn. Or, in this case, a vacuum next to a pressurized system. Not data, because your data obviously backs up the assertion we have a dome. That much is obvious and clear to every audience member right now. So, have you got any actual evidence of the girl? We'd like to see her. Her name is pressurized system next to a vacuum. Can you show us her?
I've showed it to you before.
No, you've shown us her profile page and some photos on Facebook. I want to see the girl.
He actually hasn't shown.
You guys won't accept anything.
Excuse me, just a profile page I could go to and show you any girl and just claim that she's my girl. Yeah? We want to see the girl. Do you understand? Your girlfriend. Her name is pressurized system next to a vacuum and we want to see her. Not her stats. Not her YouTube page. Not propaganda pictures of her.
I really think you're just lost, man.
The question you're trying to ask now about this dome is very easy to answer.
Okay,
very
please
easy,
answer
but it takes some time. I don't think guys here want me to basically get into
it. No, I bet they don't. I bet they don't. because they'll get off the topic, which is just interrupting me and not answering my questions.
Yeah, but
which
you
is,
are
how is it
not
anything
really
like a bike
answering the
tire?
questions either. You're just changing
No,
the subject.
I have answered the questions. You said
Really, our question is, can you show us a pressurized system next to a vacuum? Can you show us that? It's been asked on multiple occasions. Please, can you do that right now? Because you're saying you've answered our questions and we need to move on to yours. But as far as I'm concerned, I haven't seen this girl called pressurized vacuum next to a dome. I've not seen her.
it's not a
You
pressurized
could have avoided
vacuum.
this before it started, James. You have to say, no, I don't have evidence. I don't have proof. That's it.
Well, I do have the evidence. You guys just won't accept it.
No, you don't.
No, you don't have evidence. You've got a profile page and you're claiming that's your girlfriend. It's not your girlfriend. You're a sad little lonely tosser. That's not your girl.
Nathan, would you mind if we kick this guy out and add George on instead? Because the conversation's going round in circles.
No, I'll jump out. You guys enjoy. Good luck understanding.
Yeah, shut up. Get out. Just sod off. I'm not interested in hearing your crap rumble jumble at the end of your non-proof that you didn't provide. Just get out. Stop talking. Leave us alone. Sod off.
See you later,
So
Coach.
George, if you're out there watching, please join.
Bravo.
There's only so much time you can give somebody on the microphone that won't accept that his evidence is fallacious.
I agree.
Who's this? Warning, good people.
Yeah, he's been asking to join, good people. But I don't know if he's still muted. Very
Yeah.
strange.
Please unmute and speak up.
Warning.
Warning.
Please
Can you hear us?
unmute and speak up.
Yes?
Oh, is
I
he?
didn't see it.
I didn't hear
That
him.
wasn't him.
Uh-oh.
Goodbye, maybe.
Warning. Can you say hello?
You gotta speak. Warning.
Click the button.
Oh, he says 1 sec in the chat while he gets the back chat up Sniper.
Ah.
All right.
Who's Eric Boshan?
No, we haven't heard
Right
him.
here, right here. Nathan's familiar with me and Arwin. Arwin and I've had a extended discussion. How you doing, Arwin?
Oh yeah, it's you.
It's me.
Yeah, now I recognize it. You got a different picture. Yeah, how you doing? I'm doing great.
Cool.
Yeah, it finally cooled down a bit here in the Netherlands. So
Yeah. Edmonton? What'd you say?
it finally cooled down here in the Netherlands, so I can
Oh, I
properly
understand.
breathe and sleep and such things.
Yeah, same here. Yeah.
Good
Anyway,
morning, good people. How you doing?
where's Warning?
Hello.
Okay, hey, how you doing?
Good to have you. Thanks for joining.
Hey,
Yeah.
welcome. Good warning, good people.
Thanks. So I have a proof that I would like to show, although I can't present, so maybe someone could pull it up for me.
No, you have to bring it up yourself.
Proof of what, good people?
Proof that the curvature ball model is impossible.
You've got to bring it up yourself, I'm afraid.
Of course.
Hang on. Let's be careful here.
Yeah, proving that something's impossible, that's a double negative, isn't it?
Yeah, and it seems too good to be true as well. This could be a Trojan horse.
Nah.
Yeah.
Let's just haul it in and sleep on it. So yeah,
You speak up good. What
please
you
share
got?
with us your your concept of why it is impossible a curved ball. Curious?
Okay, well, basically, it's a picture shown with infrared camera, and it's shot
From an airplane?
I do have to. I'm assuming the information the guy provided is true, which I do believe it.
Is this taken from the video of the guy who got into a plane and then filmed into the distance with infrared lens?
It's that same guy, yeah, but
Oh, yeah, okay.
but that's not
We
the picture
see-
I'm talking about.
We've seen it.
Yeah.
So the scene that I'm talking about, he's at Malibu, California, and he's filming east towards Sand Mountain, Jacinto. And he's at an elevation of 150 feet, and he's looking at a mountain 120 miles away. So due to the math, that puts the natural horizon, meaning if there was just water between him and that mountain, at about 15 miles. So when you look at the photo, well,
Hello.
So well.
When you look at the photo,
Can you look at the photo?
His internet connection is a bit bad, I think.
critical part.
When he comes back, we'll just prompt him with his last words.
Yes.
Well, while we've got this subject on the table, Ranty put a comment in the side chat on the last show that he'd gone out and bought some filters for his P900. Hopefully if he's at his desk and he can unmute. If not, I'll just keep babbling indefinitely till Ranty hears me.
And by the way, I can now present the video that I was referencing from the infrared.
Yeah, bought some infrared.
So is this the footage that you were talking about?
Yeah, but can you go to, if it's the video I'm talking about, it's about 9 minutes and 53 seconds where he's showing Mount San Jacinto. No, not that video, but it's from the same guy.
Yeah, okay. I don't have the... This is the video that I saw. I showed it on my latest Hangout as well, with Rust ahead.
Well, he has a video that was posted about 4 days ago, and it's called Stunning Images Over 100 Miles Infrared.
Right. Well, this is at 33,000 feet.
I saw that one. I know what you're talking about.
Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that the ocean in this picture that I'm talking about should be blocking about 7/10 of the mountain in the background. And it's very, very clear that the ocean is absolutely nowhere near blocking even 1 inch of the mountain. So unless some magical refraction can just create this ridiculous illusion, it totally debunks the globe model.
The whole globe is magical.
Yes.
Chris Monk claims he's debunked this, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know whether
I've seen videos trying to
you
debunk that guy's videos, and it's literally some kid sitting in front of his computer, sounds like a freaking 5-year-old, and he's just like, oh, I mean, that's not real. I mean, that's fake. I mean, this is bullshit.
Yeah, you can't see that the Himawari pictures are not fake either. It's funny how they can describe that so eloquently when it suits them, but not when it doesn't suit them.
Right.
Hey, could we give Randy a mic check? He said he's having some problems.
Indeed. You're muting the
Go ahead.
Hangout, Ranty.
You can get a cream for your problems.
And get what?
There we go.
Get a cream for it. It's all right. It's a joke.
Oh, right, okay.
Is anyone able to pull that up? Because I'm on a tablet. I can't present.
Fair enough. Can somebody who's got screen sharing
If
capabilities?
you just go to that guy's page, J Tolan Media 1, the video is called Stunning Long Range Imaging Over 100 Miles. And then it's at 9 minutes and 53 seconds. There's a good picture, and I can walk you through what it's showing.
What's it called? Stunning what?
Stunning infrared over 100 miles flat Earth.
While he's pulling that up, shout out to lovely Betty from the Netherlands.
Yeah, big shout out to Betty.
Craig, you know, I've never shared. How do I share screen? Yeah, Google Hangouts. Bloody hell.
Is Randy trying to bring us down to earth, but he hasn't spoken enough yet?
Oh, talking about down to earth, did who on the panel saw the marble going into the balloon today?
Yeah, that was cool.
That was really awesome. A live stream while he was in the balloon.
Okay, I think I'm sharing this. I don't know.
Yep. So in that video, if you go to like about 9 minutes 53 seconds, I believe. I'm not sure though. Let's see. Yeah, right there. All right. So now what you're looking at is Mount San Jacinto in the background, 120 miles away. That mountain is about 10,800 feet tall. From where this picture is being taken, the ocean below should be blocking 7,300 feet of that mountain in the background, meaning only about 3,500 feet of it can be shown.
Can you make it full screen? Sorry to interrupt. Can you make it full screen, Eric? Just so I've got it.
Oh yeah, sorry about that.
That's brilliant.
It is incredible. When I saw this, I was just like, wow.
And if you know this mountain, you'll know that this is one of the steepest mountains. It's surrounded by low desert. And basically, there's no chance that that's only 3,000 feet of the mountain. And the point is that the ocean should be blocking the majority of that mountain. So do you see the ocean anywhere near even the base of that mountain?
Where's the ball?
Red's rhetoric would be, you know, refraction is lifting it up over the curve. It's, you know, it's lifting it up.
Oh, it's all a hologram, right? Yeah, right.
And the fact is that there's elevated land as well. So even disregarding that, if it was just water all the way there, you can clearly see that this shoreline, which that's where the tangent line should be. The hump of water, the tangent line is only 15 miles towards the mountain from the observer. And basically there's water all between there. And this is not to scale, but if you look at the map, you'll see that from his position towards the mountain, 15 miles is the tangent point, and it's in the ocean. So you should see the ocean concealing the mountain. And in the picture, you can see it's nowhere even close to the foot of the mountain.
Mm-hmm. I think that's massively misunderstood that point.
Hey, Tim.
You mind if I chat with this guy?
I guess.
Actually, yeah, I mind. What do you want, Tim?
No, somebody kicked him.
I don't. Tim has no place in Flat Earth at all. No, so back to what I was saying. I think this is massively misunderstood. There should be a wall of water between the observer and the mountain, covering half the mountain. That's fantastic.
You get Tim out of the back chat.
And I know that mountain very well. I know that mountain very well.
Hold on.
It's extremely tall.
Can you get Tim out of the back chat?
It looks like that mountain is pretty much, we're seeing the base of the mountain. I mean, I don't know this mountain very well, but the way it's tapered down, it's pretty damn clear that we're seeing where it hits.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And the point is that, yes, I can't look at it and tell exactly how much is seen, but I know that that's probably a good 9,000 feet of vertical elevation. There's not a chance that
I think the winning point is that there's no water line obscuring half of it.
Exactly. And it's not even close. It's not even close. Look at that land above the shoreline.
So there's no water hump? The camel's
no bulge. That's right. There's no bulge. Nathan, you should be all over this.
No, you're doing it for me. You're right. Where's the curve? Where's the hump?
I've been looking at these videos for 4 years, and this is the video that just totally sealed it for me.
Yeah, this guy.
And yet we're going to still have average Joe Plumber saying, "Well, I fly to China and I see."
So let me chat with this guy for a second. He commented.
Oh God!
Goodness, can I be done sharing here?
Yep, that's my point.
Oh God, this guy.
Yeah, take this idiot off.
Oh, this guy is yeah. All right, I'm done sharing. How do I turn this off here?
Which guy's idiot? What are you talking about?
Stick, that Dr. Stick, Professor Stick, or whatever that.
Yeah.
He sounds like a typical millennial in his mom's basement. Like he's transitioning.
He's a crayon muncher, dude.
That's how I see Simon Dan. The
Hello, James.
Millennial.
Hello.
All right, I'm done sharing.
Hello. Y'all good?
Hey, Jimbo. Thanks, Eric. Much obliged. And thank you.
Yep. So I guess I'll drop off. That was my point. If anyone's willing to actually legitimately question what I've proven, then of course I said it is based on the guy being truthful about his elevation of the observer. But you know, if anyone has anything to refute that image, to me it's very clear that the ocean line is absolutely nowhere near concealing any of the mountain.
I agree completely. Well done, mate.
Well, again, I wouldn't say it's just proof of that the ball is impossible. Just again, we still.
What are you talking about? There's no wall of water between.
No. I'm just saying that. Again,
are you trolling? You are, aren't you?
No, I'm not trolling. Trust
There's
me.
no wall of water between us and the mountain obscuring.
I think what he was about to say is.
I think it's what it is. We don't have any
proof
evidence
that their model is false.
Yes, we're still looking for the evidence of the radius and the gravity that pulls to a body.
No, it's called obfuscation.
Yeah, exactly.
No, you're not understanding. You're moving away from the point. Where's the wall of water between the observer and the mountain?
I'm not arguing. No, I'm not arguing for that.
No, you're distracting. That's the point. It's a massive flat Earth proof, and it poos all over the idea that we live on a spinning testicle.
Tom,
my position is I don't know how big the Earth is, how much it weighs.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. We know that. We have a model thing that you guys rely on called the Metabunk Curve Calculator, and it tells us exactly how big the Earth is. Have you not seen that?
What?
Have you not seen the Metabunk curve calculator? We know how big the Earth is.
Wait. How do I know how big the Earth is?
Because you have a model, apparently.
I don't have any model for the Earth.
Well, so what's the Metabunk curve calculator then? If it's not so much to do with geometry.
Again, I'm not a globe. I'm not a glober here.
Well, you're making claims that there's silly things going on in your head. Let's deal with them.
Oh goodness, great! No, there's nothing silly going on.
Yeah, you're saying that you don't know how big the globe is, but we do know how big the globe is.
I don't believe it's a globe.
That's okay then. You're saying that you don't know how big the globe is. That's not true. We do know how big the globe's supposed to be.
Yep. And there's no takebacks.
I did not say that. I said very clearly, I don't know how big the Earth is, how it works, how it functions, how deep it is.
I'm pretty certain that you said I'm pretty certain that you said I don't know how big the globe is. Maybe not. If I've misheard.
I said no. I said the Earth, and you can check back on the broadcast.
Well, if I jumped on you accidentally or incorrectly, I apologize.
Well, people know me well enough here, especially Arwin and Nathan. Perhaps I've never been here arguing the globe.
That makes you suspect.
Dude, I don't know you that long. I had a few hours conversation with you, but yeah, I think.
I think it's. My point was, it's. I don't like the verbiage of proving that it's not a globe. It's like, well, why are you proving a double negative? I'm looking for evidence. People make the claim that it's a spinning ball. I've yet to see the evidence.
Yep.
That's my position.
That's what we're doing.
As far as I can
keeping
tell,
every day.
As far as I can tell, it's relatively flat, not spinning.
My take is I'm looking for the evidence that it is a globe. I'm looking for the curve, for the balls and all that stuff. Now the globe believers that defend the globe, they are trying to prove me it's a globe. They know the numbers, they know the data, and they're telling me, regurgitating the interpretation of it. I don't want to know of that. I know of that already. But me, with a different possibilities that there are other explanations, I'm looking for the globe, but I cannot find it. That's the thing.
Well, personally, my position is anybody, any cult, any institution that's trying to tell me exactly what the Earth is, how it works, it's highly suspect because I call bullshit.
I know something you don't know. The name of the Globebuster show for tonight is called Sunday Mass. Because I asked them to call it Sunday Mass because it lines up with church service on Sundays in England. Because a lot of people, or a lot of Christian or whatever people, go to church on a Sunday evening. And because it lines up with the same time that a lot of churchgoers go, I said, can you call it Sunday Mass? And they are doing, hey.
Yeah, that's cool. Good recommendation.
Pastor Bob and Reverend, Pastor Bob and Reverend Jaron.
Cool. I'm not a big fan of Globebusters. I think I prefer what Jaron does solo. That's just my own preference. I don't know.
Stop it.
Stop what?
My dog. He wants petting, like continuously. That's his tickly spot. Can you hear that?
His tail thumping.
No, I'm scratching his side and his foot's hitting the floor like tap 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 tap.
Hey, I didn't get the point of that James guy was saying. Why was he asking where's the pressure on the dome? Like meaning out.
I don't even think James understood the point James was trying to make.
Yeah, that's very easy, but it'll take some time to explain.
I don't know. You guys let people carry on way too much with numbers and whatnot. I mean, apparently.
I know, but if we kick them too early, they complain that Nathan's an unfair moderator. So we have to make them die slowly and painfully, and then they get the
numbers. Numbers. Yes, numbers are great. If we keep going on in this paradigm, I guess a can of Coke will be $8,000 in the next 500 years, right? Because numbers.
I doubt it. I don't think the dollar's probably going to be around by then.
Don't get me started about Coca-Cola, man. We have sugar tax. I'm not sure if you guys have that in the States, but Coca-Cola seems to be the only thing affected. It's like something I drink, which is annoying.
Ad for you, Nathan. The reason that they should have the sugar tax is because of people like you that drink it.
Tax alcohol more. Just do that.
Oh. No.
Tax the rum.
No.
Yeah, tax the rum.
No.
Don't be
Where's
taxed.
the rum's gone?
Don't
Where's the
tax
rum's
Coke.
gone?
Tax the hookers.
Don't tax
What?
Coca-Cola. It's outrageous.
Oh.
Anyway. Sorry, I've completely destroyed the conversation.
Who's making all that noise?
So Eric, I'll bring Eric back on track. So Eric was trying to quantify what James, I think his name was saying in regards to the pressurized system when he presented numbers. Well, you know, it was pretty clear what we asked for. We asked to be shown an example of exactly what he claims the Earth is. And his only claim is to say, well, the Earth itself proves it. Just look out your window. That's basically what he's saying.
Another baller with no evidence, just like George Natanuke.
Yeah, but I think a lot of you guys miss the thing that you're not dealing with just people who believe they live on a spinning ball flying through space. You're dealing with people who believe that they're British or American or Thai or Chinese because, well, you know, the ovarian lottery somehow. I mean, it's a whole belief system. These people are never gonna comprehend that the reality is built on a, lack of a better term, a conspiracy. You know, why would they lie? Why would they lie? Why would men lie? I can name 1,000,001 reasons why men lie, but apparently some people have a problem.
Money.
One of the best evidence the Globers have, so they say, is the eclipse, a lunar eclipse, a solar eclipse. So they still going to the celestial bodies, as we know what they are, how they behave, if they're physical or not. What the hell is going on? They refuse to go to Earth observations, to what we can do and physically see and touch.
Well, they've never been able to explain when you have a partial moon that has the convex shape, or the concave. Like how would that? It's just wrong. Like it's not a shadow. How could a ball cast a certain shadow?
There's also the impossible moon or eclipse where both the sun and the moon are in the sky and we see them. It's day and the moon is occluded from the top down.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then Venus. How about
okay.
seeing Venus at night? I mean, how does that like? I've tried to work out the geometry with those little things they have in school with with the.
Yeah, talking about the moon eclipse, I actually saw the moon eclipse when it was 2 days ago. In the evening and the night, and it doesn't really look like there is a disc basically moving over it. It just looked like just a blur was covering it up, and it was eclipsed for quite a long time, and all I could see was basically a very dark brown red circle, the outline, and getting more blackish in the center. That's what I saw. It was really weird. It doesn't look it doesn't look like there is basically a ball casting a shadow on it at all. It looks nothing like that.
Yeah, it's
just getting blurred up.
There's no moon at all.
What there's supposed to be like a red shadow that comes around the Earth and hits the moon. Is that what they say is going on? I mean,
yeah, they say
like it's supposed to be the same thing that causes like red sunsets and shit. What I read the other day, I was just like, wait a minute, how the hell does that work?
There are drawings that show how red works on eclipses and on sunsets. They're nice drawings, pretty drawings, especially for the moon. When it's red, it's all the way on the opposite side of the Earth from the sun, and the refraction of the beams around 25,000-mile globe hit the moon and make it red. If they have a drawing that shows it, it must be true.
Yeah, but if the Earth is supposed to be coming in between the sun and the moon, why doesn't the moon just disappear completely? Why is there still this red shadow? Like, why does it turn into a blood moon or whatever?
Magic refraction again. The light is refracting around the entire Earth and forming a kind of a beeline cone towards the moon. If you look at the pretty pictures, that's what they're showing.
I don't even let myself get into those proofs or arguments. To me, when people say, well, what about this one? Anything up in the sky, to me, what's in the sky is a light and a heat lamp and a calendar. You know, what are the stars? It's a calendar. Humans.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't know. They're lights and heating sources, and in the case of the moon, a cooling source, and it's a calendar. That's what it is.
The best answer is I have no idea how they work, what they are, where they are, and
why do I care?
Neither do you. You know, period. That's it.
Exactly. Like how does this knowledge about this planet is so far away, blah blah blah. Like how does that help me feed my kids or grow crops or build a shelter or build a bridge across a river or create dams? Like who gives an F?
The NASA fanboys.
The difference is they got an explanation because they just accepted it. That's the difference between us and them. I don't accept their explanations just because I want to move on. No, I want to go to the freaking nitty gritty of the details. That's the thing. You know?
Well, I've been looking a lot more into the chronology of the history we've been sold and how we're kind of led to believe, especially in the West, how all roads lead to Rome. We have a admiralty law, legal system. My information's leading that there's a few thousand years missing, and I think the globe is a big part of it.
I always thought it was funny. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's okay. I'm just saying, the whole thing that, I mean, we're sold this, everything goes to this sort of Greco-Roman Egyptian basis of civilization.
You mean the 1,000 years that were inserted into the calendar to make the Roman Empire last extremely long?
Yeah,
because I prescribe to that concept.
Yeah, I mean,
just added the one.
Yeah, the whole calendar
separate the far
very
history
weird.
from the close history.
You know what I like to do? I like to ask these people that, well, why would they lie? Like, well, come on. What evidence do you have? Forget the spinning ball. I said, what evidence do you have that you're an American? Because you were raised that way, you were told since you were, ask somebody that. What evidence do you have that you're a Dutch citizen, aside from a fancy little piece of paper, passport, and all this? And people believe that.
The identity people have is kind of a collective hallucination, no more, no less. It's a creation.
Yeah, seriously, what makes me an American aside that, it was beaten over my head and I have a passport that I under duress because I need to travel this world.
It's the cultural elements.
Hey, Ranty said you could kick him if you need any more space.
Ooh, can I do it now?
But I think a lot of times when you're arguing with ballers, it's like you're not arguing over just that. These people believe in, society. Well, if you want to be a part of society, that's the fallback argument. If you just want to be a crazy anarchist, flat earth, well, I guess you just don't want to be a part of society. I'm like, okay, can you draw me a diagram of this thing called society? How's it work exactly, please? Society. Like that guy James, I'm sure, I was picking on him in a chat. I bet, he sounded like he was 20-something. I bet you he probably believes that gender is fluid and Bernie Sanders is going to give him free shit. And
I doubt that he's the type for that, really.
You sure?
No.
He just sounds like somebody who's very, very indoctrinated into this heliocentric system and refuses to let it go. He's been on here enough times. He keeps going through the same thing again and again with us. And it's like, dude, you're just not understanding that we know all your arguments. We're just refuting them.
Isn't that
it's not like you're trying, because they tend to forget that we know their system sometimes better than they do.
Yeah, no, that's kind of the sad part, and how frustrating it can be when it's like you open up the idea of flat Earth, and you can almost predict the sequence of the questions as they come at you.
He sounds like a genuine guy. He doesn't sound like a troll that's just coming in here to be a pain in the ass. But it's dude, just let it go for a second. Just for take yourself out of it for like 2 seconds and critically think.
No, that's genuinely how he was trained to think and the information he was given. It's really not his fault.
some people approach this subject as to argue our point and telling us, no, you're wrong, and this is how it works, and that's it, period. Other ones approach this as an intervention, trying to help us, like, no, you have to believe, like, please,
Yeah,
just
they're
let it
trying to
go
help
and
us.
accept it. That's how they do, man.
Yeah.
Well, you know
They're
what?
trying to give you guys facts. What? We know all the facts you're trying to give us.
Show us a working model. What's this obsession with a model? This whole tangible, like materialistic working model, as if their model answers everything.
The only thing that would be an effective working model is the Earth itself and everything attached to it. Models cannot work.
No, I think that comes from just the globe. I think it just comes from having a globe in your classroom, a globe in your house, all your life. So you're used to seeing that. So now somebody comes along with an alternative and says, "Look, the Earth is flat." Now people want to say, "All right, so show me that. Show me that." No, I don't know. I don't know why they can't get over it.
So sorry to interrupt. We've got Billy. Is it Billy Zig in the chat? Says the eclipse, moon, and sun were both visible at the same time in Melbourne, Australia. Is that recent, Billy Zig? Is that something that you've seen prior to the one that just happened? Let me know in the chat.
Are we sure if Australia exists or not?
Oh, what a crock of crap.
I think kangaroos are real.
Australia is definitely real for anyone watching.
I can say that I've been there. I did fly from Shanghai to Seoul, and then Seoul, and I flew over a bunch of water and landed in this very arid, dry place with kangaroos.
Sorry to cut you off. Billy Zig, excellent. He says it's 2 days ago somebody saw the eclipse, moon and sun at the same time from Australia. Have you got pictures? Where can we find this information, Billy Zig? Thank you.
Wait, they saw an eclipsed moon and the sun at the same time.
That would be called an impossible. This is according to a chatter on YouTube, so you know. RX and Ballers with
that's beautiful
visual viewing platform. They actually left after I pointed it out. Did you take any pictures? If it's your information, that'd be absolutely awesome. I hope you did.
Yeah, on these impossible eclipses when the sun and the moon are visible at the same time, there are, recorded you can find on the internet, but that's a long time ago. If we get a recent one, like with now, documented, that would be awesome.
They'd be interesting.
There are actually many recordings of the impossible moon, including one guy who's up on a really cold morning, and he sees the impossible eclipse, and then he's trying to describe how the light is coming up from underneath the Earth. So there are plenty of examples, and even people trying to justify them out there. It's not like it happened 1,000 years ago, and we're only going to wait another 100 years for one. There are lots of impossible eclipses to check out.
Sure, I don't dispute it, but it'd be lovely to have one original one from Billy Zig. He says his friend is uploading it and he's happy to share it with us, so I'm hoping he does exactly that on the next show, because, yes, I've seen plenty of impossible clips videos, but I don't know the person who produced it. They're not on the panel saying, yeah, I was on this viewing platform, we saw it with our own eyes. That has, I haven't. That's next best thing if it's primary source. So I hope he gets his friend to upload it and gets a permission or his permission to share it with us. That'd be awesome. I'd love that. Thank you very much, Billy Zig, for your swift responses in the chat.
Yeah, I still don't. I don't freak out over those. People will start talking about Planet X and Nibiru and two suns and all that. I still doesn't prove anything to me except something in the sky.
Well, you can still see all that garbage up there if you make a little pinhole camera and you check it out on an afternoon when the sun is, not setting, but clear sky. You will see all these so-called planets and other things around the sun that is supposed to be Nibiru hauling another planetary system into our planetary system. All garbage. It's just shadows and lights in the sky, for heaven's sake, Like years ago, it was supposed to hit us Nibiru. It's a little late.
You know what? I sort of was intrigued by that stuff and sort of went into it. Like, oh, that's cool. But something's, I don't know.
I call it fear porn. It generates money. One guy made $1 million plus off of the Nibiru there. People donated money for land and for bunkers and tons of food. And anyway, you can get money out of people by scaring them, Christians especially, and they'll send you oodles of money for nothing. Free money.
Whoa, hold on.
Yeah, whoa. Hit the super chat.
Well, look at David Wilcock or what the I always F up his name, but Wilcox,
David
whole guy, the aliens, and what's that other guy, Stephen Greer? Disclosure, it's coming anytime. How many decades of this crap are we going to deal with?
And the alien colony living inside Nibiru, of course.
I don't know. You know, one thing about the moon that when I started getting into flat Earth, and I totally remembered, is like pick up just a basic book, a layman's book on how to cure and dry meat and fish. Every book we've known it for thousands of years. You got to bring it in at night, not because of rain or because the moonlight has different properties. Like, we've known this for thousands of years, and it dawned on me when I started. I was like, of course, yeah. You bring in the meats and fish. Duh. So I don't even need to put a thermometer out there and do a test with numbers and data. Just, hey, go catch a fish, try to dry it, and leave it out at night. See what happens.
Yep.
So that so much for that reflected sunlight.
Correct.
Yeah, that's one of the weird aspects of the moonlight is that, and the sunlight, that you can leave things like meat and everything to dry in the sunlight, and including fruits, and they will dry perfectly. It is an old method of conserving food.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the Wild West, they basically they just took meat slabs, put them on a rock in the sun, and they would dry perfectly, and you could put them in your basement and
beef
eat them.
jerky, bro.
But yeah, exactly. But if you took that same meat slab and then left them to dry in the moonlight, they would actually start to spoil and rot.
Right.
Well, the
So weird.
sun's rays are disinfecting people, and evaporation causes cooling. So
Yeah,
all
but
these
the
tests
thing is
that
that
people are
moonlight
trying
does
to
the
prove
exact
moonlight
opposite.
is cooling. Look, I walked in the
moonlight does the
moonlight with
opposite,
ladies.
and
They
it
don't
actually
petrify
helps
and
mushrooms.
putrefy in front of me. That's new age nonsense.
Yeah.
Unless you can prove it, like I say, show me. That's all nonsense. So anyway, that's just my comment.
No, and you see, we don't need these data and numbers and curvatures and things. We've known this for thousands of years. Just do that.
No, you're implying that the fact that it's nighttime and there's a moon that it rots meat. No, bugs land on stuff, they pass off germs, and things rot down. That's nothing to do
and it
with
makes
the moon.
fire burn more brightly. Also,
Prove it.
But bugs,
it's darker, a fire will appear brighter. I don't know what to say.
Yeah,
if
I
you
don't know
measure
either.
temperatures in the open in the moonlight, and then you go under trees, evaporation causes
No, it has
cooling.
nothing
In
to
the
do with that.
open, you
No,
have more evaporation.
Really,
Under the
the
trees, it
output
acts like
of
a
a
blanket.
fire under the moon will be heavier, producing more heat with the exact same amount of fuel being burned as
Prove
when
it.
there is no moon or when it is
Prove it.
completely covered up by
You got a
clouds.
bomb calorimeter and a fire
Not
in it.
true.
I mean,
Thrive did an experiment where 4 candles were put on a moonlit window, and then 4 candles were put on a non-moonlit window.
Yeah.
And the window ledge that had the moonlight on it burnt the candles. All 4 candles had a lot more wick left at the end of the night than the other candles which had burnt out that were not under the moon.
So how did the fork handles get set on fire? Aren't they made of solid wood?
4 candles. 4 candles. Can I just let everybody know that George Netanuk thinks that I've misrepresented him? So I've challenged him to come on the next show. And if he does come on the next show, let's have everybody on mute, because I want this little man, because he's telling pork pies. You've got no evidence for your claims, views, or beliefs, George, but you portray, like you criticize George Brian Mullin, you portray that you know all the answers in public chat, but when it comes to it and you ask for the evidence, you back down like a little girl, don't you? So let's get him on next show, and when he does come on, leave him to me.
Ooh, that's leave him to me. Okay.
Anyway, 4 candles.
Yes. I've been listening to a lot of stuff about the skies, and just to me, none of it is proof of the shape of the Earth. You know, you have to have a logical fallacy in order to use it. You know, you're never going to get scientific validation from any of this stuff we're discussing.
I know, but the value to it is pointing out that these ballers all believe that there's a molten iron core because they get told so, and therefore it's true by science. And it's this excessive belief and acceptance of science that's the issue.
Yeah,
they don't realise that there is no evidence.
They also believe they have a citizenry and a passive because they have a fancy passport. They also believe that they're smarter than other people because they went to university. You know, and yes, I've been to uni, but I'm starting to think that I'd like to see a paradigm flip where employers would be like, what? You're so dumb. You needed 4 more years of school. You spent 13 years in school. I mean, just think about it. What are they doing for 20 years of our life? Or plus, if you want to have a PhD.
For 20 years of a life, they're teaching you, they're spoon feeding you all the nonsense that once you're committed into it, that time by so much time, money, and effort, you ain't going to go against that system. It's fed you for the last 5, 6, 7, 10 years and £100,000 or dollars worth of tuition. You ain't going to go against that system.
Look, George is saying that he can't come on tomorrow. I'm willing to drop off and let him on in this spot. And, you know, you continue, get him alone and one-on-one and do it today. Do it now.
Well, I don't mind that.
Come on now.
I don't mind that if Nathan's not got plans to shut down in the next 10 minutes.
There's a gap already, so he can join now, but I don't think he can because I think this is the same hangout as last time. So I kicked him out because he didn't speak.
No, he's got another account set up, so he might be able to join.
Oh, really? Oh,
okay. Well, I'll proof and
no. There's only 8 on the panel, George. There's no need for anybody to leave. There's only 8, so it'd be good if you stayed because it means there's 9 and we won't get trolled.
Well, Ranty said he can be kicked if necessary. So if
there's
George
only 8.
can't join,
there's only 8 on the panel. There we go. We're being trolled anyway, so hopefully George will join so we don't get trolled.
Yeah, we will all stay on mute while George is here if he decides to show up.
Yeah, so come on, George. Let's see what the misrepresentation was and by who.
George here.
Mark Matthews.
Hey, George. Can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
No, that's Mark.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, just a minute. I've got to shut some things down here.
Who's Frank Bello?
Kick him.
Okay, am I coming through now?
You are. There's a few gaps now. We could do with like a couple of placeholders just to make sure that this conversation doesn't get derailed.
Oh, it's already has.
Okay.
We've still got George. We've still got Anthony.
Hi, folks.
Yeah, Frank Bellows removed them all, but I've got him. So basically, we just need a couple more placeholders. Apologies for those that got kicked.
Hopefully, we'll succeed in a
conversation. I'll mute you. Just let me know when you're ready.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Could do with a couple more placeholders, and then we're good. Just keep an eye out for the ones that do join next, because they're probably going to be people that are just going to cause nefarious disruption. Fish guy.
It's me, placeholder. It's me, Jose.
Jose. Andrew.
Yeah.
Andrew, how you doing?
One more.
Andrew. You're gonna have to go, Andrew.
Not a troll. Just leave him. It's worth the risk. I think we've got a full panel now, so if we lose everyone, that's just the way it goes. I'll have to start another one.
Okay, so let's carry on. If someone can keep an eye on the back door, that'd be great. Arwin, just keep your eye on that Andrew. He says he's not a troll. He doesn't have a mic.
He's been kicked.
We lost Arwin.
We're good. We've got a full panel. Let's just crack on. Guys, let's just crack on. Got a full panel. Great. Thank you very much for everyone who's joined.
So, George, you claim that I've misrepresented your position. Is that correct?
You're on mute at the moment, George, in the Hangout. That or we've lost the entire panel. No, I don't think so.
Sorry, I posted in the chat that I was getting a drink. Apparently, you didn't catch that.
No,
yeah,
I've missed.
Hold on,
Sure.
hold on, Anthony. Well, first and foremost, thank you for being here, George. If
Sure,
Anthony
you're
can go, I think he's just got a question that you didn't hear. So we'll do it, we'll have a do-over and hit start again.
George, you claim I've misrepresented you by your position in chat. Is that correct?
Yeah, you mischaracterized our conversation.
Oh, I've mischaracterized, not right. Okay, so they're similar words, right? So let's bearing in mind this is my my Skype with your conversation in it. Given that there's a copyright issue in that it was a private conversation, do I have your consent to present the information that me and you discussed today, please?
Most certainly.
Nath, would you mind presenting my screen?
Yeah, you're up.
Okay, so it starts off with today's conversation. And in today's conversation, the first message I sent to you was, quote, your message from debate 372 at 30 minutes, 30 seconds in, which reads,
wait a minute. You have it on screen. I'm not seeing it.
press the thumbnail in the Hangout window.
Which one is you?
The good-looking one.
Well, I see several.
You should see my I've got a white, it's predominantly a white screen.
The one on the left there by the car?
No, it's on the bottom. It should be along the bottom row of the main Google chat window.
I'm saying the left avatar, the leftmost one, the individual standing by the car there.
No, it's a mainly white screen. You should see my screen share.
It says sleeping. If you can click on where it says sleeping.
Oh, okay, I got it now. All right, go ahead.
Okay, so this is the quote that I want to challenge you on, because this is cited from the Hangout that is 372 at 30 minutes, 30 seconds, in which you said, oh my, such a no-word discussion. Check out Ampere's law and the Boit-Savart laws regarding how current flows generates a magnetic field. So what we've done that for the last couple of shows, and neither of them apply. Now, my point at this point is not to challenge the merits of that point, because we've already addressed it. But what I do want to show is that how the conversation of today bears a striking resemblance for the criticism that you gave against Brian Mullin for pretending that he was.
Let's not drag Brian Mullin into this.
No, but what I'm doing is bringing up the double standards, because you criticized Brian for.
No. You wanted me to talk about the magnetic field of the Earth, and that's what I'm willing to do. Let's defer anything to do with Mullin until a little bit later, okay?
All right. Well, we'll deal with the magnetic field of the Earth then. You asked, what is my point?
No, you're all right. Now, what I've been trying to tell you in our Skype conversations was, from what I remember on that particular Hangout, is I happened to tune in, and you and the panelists were talking about the Earth's magnetic field, how it could not be generated because of the Curie temperature, and you're talking about permanent magnetism. And I fully agree with you that the Earth's magnetic field cannot be generated by a permanent magnet because the interior of the Earth is much too hot for that. And all that text, all that message was to you on that side chat was I'm saying, look into Ampere's law and the Biot-Savart's law, because a magnetic field can be generated by two different ways. One is either through permanent magnetism, which originates at the atomic level, and the way domains align themselves, magnetic domains line themselves up to reinforce their individual fields to give you a large external field that we view as a permanent magnet, something like sticks to your refrigerator. Now, another way to generate a magnetic field is through current flow. Whenever you have electrical current flow, a magnetic field develops around it. And that's all I was saying, is look into that. I didn't say that is necessarily what's going on into the interior of the Earth. I told you that this is not my area of expertise, but it is my understanding. Wait, just let me, please, just give me 30 seconds. It is my understanding from what I have read that the current thoughts on the subject is that there's an electrical dynamo created in the interior of the Earth due to the molten iron core having convection currents that carries charge carriers along with it. Whenever you have charge carriers moving, that is the definition of a current. Current is the movement of charge. It doesn't matter how you move those charges, as long as they're moving, they create a magnetic field. And that is the current thought, that possibly the magnetic field is generated by current flow in the internal part of the Earth in the molten core. That is the thought. I don't know. I can't give you evidence whether or not that's true. I've told you that. This is not my area of expertise. I could look into it. I could find out more about it. But at this point in time, all I can say is that that is the current thought. It seems reasonable to me, but I do not have any personal experience in that area. I have not conducted any experiments in that area. I've not participated in any experiments in that area. So no, I cannot provide you with any evidence that you are demanding. And I've told you this.
I know, but my point is that in the Hangout, when you put your message, listen to the phraseology you use. Oh my, such a nowhere discussion. Check out Ampere's law and the Boyd-Sievert laws regarding how current flows generate a magnetic field. The prose, hang on, the prose that you're using there, George, is very patronizing and condescending to anybody that doesn't understand.
All right. Well, all right. Okay, I apologize on that. Okay, I could have probably phrased it better, but my intent, and you're reading much more into it, all I was saying is the nowhere discussion is trying to talk about the permanent magnetism is possibly being the source for the Earth's magnetic field. You and I both agree that that is not the responsible for generating the Earth's magnetic field. It can't possibly be, because the interior of the Earth is above the Curie temperature of any metal, including iron. So and all that means it. Now, this is where your misunderstanding seems to be.
Well, hang on. It's not about this conversation. It's not about my misunderstanding. This conversation is about you claiming that I'd misrepresented the position. So what I now want you to do is, given that you just agreed with me that that was out of context, or it was in a different, what you said was different to what you meant, can you now explain where the misrepresentation was that I misrepresented you on?
Well, it comes about because of the way that you're trying to read something in to that message other than what it is. And I've explained it to you several times earlier this morning. We went over and over that for over an hour, and you just refused to let it go.
So have I misrepresented you, or do we just not agree?
Well, the language that you used was rather harsher. I can't remember exactly, like saying that I'm running away. I can't explain. I've failed and stuff. I mean, that's totally unnecessary. All you had to do
unnecessary.
All you had to do is say, this is the way I understand what Mr. Notchek was saying. He says something differently, but you go on and you were so adamant about what you believe on what I was saying here, when I have countless times earlier,
George,
explained to you that that was not the case.
George, you haven't answered my question. I asked you, did I misrepresent you, or do we just not agree?
Well, to me, yes, we did not agree, but I still feel that you've misrepresented that somehow I was running away from this thing.
Okay, so let's now consider some of the more pertinent comments. Am I still screen sharing, Nathan?
You are.
Right, so in one of the your next comment said, what is your point? So I cited a comment you'd said earlier in the conversation that you'd said the currents have been detected, and then I said evidence of detected currents from Earth, please, because if you're going to claim that currents have been detected, it's reasonable to
again you're holding this to a much higher standard than it needs to be.
Really?
I said, I said, these are things that I have read. I said, I am not an expert in this area, so I cannot, off the top of my head, provide you with any particular evidence.
Sorry, I just need to interrupt a second. George, in highlighted at the top of the screen, you are making a cast iron assertion.
That is what I, okay.
So just hold on, Anthony, I just want to get clarity. So you've just declared that you are not an expert about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, why are you making an assertion? Hold on. Why are you making the assertion? Why are you making the assertion?
And why do you dilute it when I ask you for evidence?
You have to understand the context in which our discussion, my earlier conversation with Mr. Riley on Skype I was talking to him about the possibility of the Earth's magnetic field being generated by current flow. And from what I remember reading is that there had been some currents detected. That's a possibility. That's a possibility for the source. I did not flatly claim that it is the source. I have never flatly claimed that this is settled science. A lot of this is speculation at this time, from what I understand. Now, the science may have gone further. I am not up to date on current research in this area. I would have to research that to see where it is these days. It may have gone further. Some of this may have been debunked. I don't know.
But the thing is, though, George,
just a field that I'm not on top of.
The thing is, though, George, you did declare something rather black and white. You did say that it was such a nowhere discussion. Check out these two citations of areas of so-called science. And when we looked into them.
No, see, you're still not getting it. I said.
No, but you can't. No, what you're not getting.
No, I said the discussion of the permanent magnetic aspect.
George, you're not understanding my point.
Was nowhere.
You can't understand. You're not understanding my point. My point is that you're making an assertion and then diluting it immediately as though it's not important. But the assertion that you're making is very important to the point. You can't have it both ways. You either know this to be true and
why is it important that you can continue discussing the permanent magnetic aspect of being the source of the Earth's magnetic field? It isn't.
We all agree on that. Nowhere discussion.
It is a nowhere discussion. We all agree that permanent magnetism is not responsible for the source of the Earth's magnetic field. You agree on it. I agree on it.
Right. So
it goes nowhere. It's a nowhere discussion.
No, it's not. What is the source for the magnetism if it's not a permanent magnetic state?
Well, now we're on to something different. Yes. Yeah. Now that is an interesting aspect. That is an interesting discussion.
Right. Yeah. So your comment above then was wrong. It's not a nowhere discussion.
No.
And everybody in chat that read what
that isn't what the comment was aimed at. It was aimed at the permanent magnetic aspect of it, not the fact that we might have another phenomena that's responsible for generating the Earth's magnetic field, which could be this dynamo effect where there's current.
Sorry, your speculation is not one and the same thing, George. You know, you're talking about magnetic fields. So magnetic fields are the subject of the conversation, and you're saying, well, it's much more interesting if we talk about a speculative thing that we theorize about and have absolutely no evidence for. It could have been debunked. This is absolutely the conversation. You're saying is a nothing conversation. That's the point.
No, I'm not, Mr. Oakley. I had not said that at all. I said what is not. You guys are reading much more into this.
We're reading the exact words. You said it was a nothingy conversation in a comment. And then we've brought you on and we've had a discussion about it, and it seems that the current mainstream science may have been debunked. That's fascinating. A conversation worthy of having, I would say, contrary to what you've stated.
No, that isn't contrary to what I stated. What I stated is that the permanent magnetic aspect of as the source of the Earth's magnetic field is a nowhere discussion.
Is that what he said, Anthony? Can you go and bring up his comment again? Can we have a look at exactly what he said? Hopefully we'll get to snip out verbatim what he says that comment was, but the original comment from the chat feed, that's what I want to see. Now we've got a nice little quote from George. What does it actually say?
Oh my, such a no-word discussion. Check out Ampere's law and Boyd-Sievert laws regarding how current flow generates a magnetic field.
Yes. Okay. A nowhere discussion of permanent magnetism.
Sorry, those fields are not generated by Ampere's law. You are absolutely incorrect in that assertion as well. I mean, you've said you're not an expert in this, George, but you're making quite a lot of assertions about it.
Okay.
George.
I give up.
Stay,
guys.
Stay with me at this point, George. I want you to answer a couple of questions.
Okay.
With regards to this video that I cited to you at least twice, and you didn't look at the first time, and I don't know if you looked at it the second time, but what this video is iron.
Yeah, I looked at it. I did. We discussed it. And I gave you my response to it.
Hang on. I want you to talk me through this.
Okay.
Because what this gent does from MIT is he gets a blowtorch, and he has an iron nut connected to a magnet through magnetism.
Yep.
He warms it up, and when he warms it up to beyond the point where it goes glowing,
it loses its magnetic ability. It becomes paramagnetic.
Right. And what does paramagnetic mean?
Paramagnetic means that it has an inability to retain permanent magnetism. Means that the magnetic domains within the material are all randomly aligned so that they do not reinforce one another and create a strong external magnetic field like a refrigerator magnet or whatever. What is responsible for permanent magnetism is you have these individual microscopic domains that if a material like something that's demagnetized, like a piece of iron that's been demagnetized, these magnetic domains are all randomly aligned within the material so that there is no preferred direction for the individual fields of these domains to align and reinforce one another. And that's what happens when you heat it up. What happens?
George, let me simplify it. Would you agree if I said that it can only be magnetic if there's an external source?
No.
That's the definition. That's the simplified definition of paramagnetism. It requires an external source to keep it or to have a charge. Do you disagree?
No. Don't use this word charge. There is no magnetic charge. Magnetic monopoles do not exist.
The point I'm making is that it can't be magnetized by itself. It needs an external source. In this case,
no. In
this case on screen,
you had it wrong.
George,
a paramagnetic material cannot be magnetized.
Well, it can if there's an external source evidenced in the picture.
No, it can't.
You're wrong, George. You're wrong.
You are wrong. No, the field can exist in a paramagnetic material like aluminum.
What can you?
Magnetic field can penetrate a piece of aluminum.
George,
you
what's
cannot
happening?
Magnetize a piece of aluminum. Aluminum is paramagnetic. You take a very strong magnet, neodymium or whatever. See if you can magnetize a piece of aluminum. You can't.
We're doing it right now. Look at the screen. What can you explain what's going on here? If this is not magnetic,
iron.
It's not magnetic.
Hold on. You're talking at cross purposes. So George is saying aluminium, but what he's demonstrating it with is iron, which is apparently what we have, according to globeheads, at the core of the Earth.
Yes, iron becomes paramagnetic if you heat it up
so
beyond
let's stick
its
to
Curie
iron.
point. It
Hold on,
behaves
George.
just like aluminum
George.
does.
Sorry to interrupt. So my point is, can we just stick to iron, not aluminium? Thanks.
Right.
Well, it's the same thing.
George, stop, please. Just answer my question concisely, right? Don't overcomplicate it.
What do you
I
want?
want you to explain what you see, like catchphrase on TV. He's warmed it up. It's glowing. It's lost its magnetic charge because it's gone beyond the Curie temperature.
No, there is no magnetic charge. It's lost its permanent magnetism. The individual domains have become randomized because of the kinetic energy of the heat has randomized the magnetic domains so they no longer line up and create a reinforced magnetic field.
Right. So we agree that it loses its permanent magnetic state, correct?
Yes, it does.
Right. So once it's got, see how it's glowing now? It's literally cherry red or yellow, whatever you want to call it. Why is it swinging like that, please, George?
Why is it swinging?
Yeah. Why is it? Why is it
a
not
pendulum.
Why is it not stationary at the bottom of the swing?
Well, it would be if you gave it time to dampen out.
No, that's
Yes,
not
it
what we're
would.
seeing.
Sorry, just for the audience's benefit, because what I'm seeing on screen is a glowing hot red iron nut being attracted and then actually sticking to this device. There we go.
Yes.
It's now stuck to it.
Yes, as it cools down, it drops below its Curie point, so now it becomes ferromagnetic. Yes.
No, that's not the point I'm making. While it's cherry red and it's beyond the Curie point, why is it being attracted towards the magnet, George?
No, it's the temperature's dropping below the Curie point, so now it becomes ferromagnetic. As long as it's very hot red and is paramagnetic, it's not going to be attracted. But you see over time, it becomes more and more attracted to the magnet. As the temperature is dropping below the Curie point, it becomes more and more ferromagnetic.
George, just give me yes/no answers. At this point,
no, I'm not going to give you yes/no answers. If
it's black and white, George, and anybody can understand this, and I'm not going to let you obfuscate the point. At the point when it loses its magnetism, the Curie point is exceeded, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. Now watch what happens while it's still got the flame on it. Why is that? Why it's beyond the Curie point, but why is it being attracted towards the magnet, please, George?
It's not. It's swinging like a pendulum.
No, it isn't. It's clearly being attracted to the magnet.
Now it is. Yeah, it's dropping. The temperature's dropping below the Curie point, so now it's becoming ferromagnetic again.
Can you see that he's got it still above the Curie point, but it's still being clearly attracted to the magnet?
No. That's what I saw.
You're ignoring.
Hold on. There's a disagreement about what's visually on screen. And as far as I can ascertain, it's not swinging like a pendulum. It never goes beyond the midpoint. But when it's at the point that it's just got it on blowtorch, it's left, and then it's starting to pull back.
Well, the thing is, you don't know exactly how much above the Curie point he got it.
Well, we know the fact that it drops its magnetic charge. That at this point
here,
yeah,
but not completely. There still can be some residual. There can be areas within that nut that aren't above the Curie point.
He keeps the torch on it. And now he's keeping it on it, but it's showing that there is an attractive force towards the magnet.
No. You're obfuscating this.
No. Tell the truth, George. Stop lying. What's happening?
I'm saying you do not know what the temperature throughout that nut is. There can be points.
Well, we know that it's beyond the Curie
point. There can be areas in it that have not dropped below the Curie point.
George, it's beyond the Curie point.
You do not know
it's beyond.
Where's your evidence?
Yeah, you've got to agree with George. Sorry. Let's just draw it. Hold on. Let's just move. Hold on. He's right, Anthony. You know, you haven't got a thermometer on that. You haven't done this test. You don't know what temperature is. You don't know if everything in that nut has gone beyond the Curie temperature. I've got to agree with him. So
no, we know that it loses its magnetic point at the Curie temperature.
Well,
keep the torch on it, and it's still glowing.
No, where is this leading? All right. No, I mean, demonstrating the Curie point. What's the idea?
No, it's not demonstrating.
What's the end game on this? I'm not getting what you're leading to.
George, shut up and listen. He's demonstrating that when the nut is heated beyond the Curie point, it drops away from the magnet, which is what we
don't know that all of the material within that nut has dropped below the Curie point. You are making an assumption here that you cannot back up. You cannot give me evidence that every magnetic domain of that nut has gone beyond the Curie point.
Yeah, I can. I've got it on screen right now. He's still blowing it more than the temperature that it was when it left the nut. It is beyond the Curie point.
I'm really sorry to do this to you. I've got to agree with George. You cannot make that assertion. I'm sorry.
Bullshit.
Well, you can stop about
it. All right,
move
on. Next point.
No bullshit. No, absolutely not. If I'm showing you right now that the bloke's still blowing the thing and it's going beyond the Curie point. If you're going to argue that I can't prove that, you are dishonest.
No, I'm saying that. Hold on. Let me just put George's.
What do you mean I don't know that? Look at what's on screen.
Hold on. Let me just, because it's coming from George. If it's coming from me, it might be different in terms of the way it's pointed out. So yes, he has what we can see. The surface of that nut is hot. We have no idea if that torch has penetrated all the way through that nut and heated it all beyond the Curie temperature. We have no way of ascertaining that. You're saying it's obvious because it's red hot, but we can't see.
Because we can see when it leaves the magnet, it's this cherry red colour. But he carries on blowtorching it, and it goes beyond that temperature, and it's still away from the magnet. So we know it's beyond.
Mr. Riley, I respectfully disagree with you.
Because it shits all over your argument. That's not a respectful disagreement. That's dishonest. Intellectual dishonesty, that, George.
Whatever you want to call it. But Nathan understands the point I'm trying to make here.
I understand the point you're making, but you're ignoring the fact that he carries on blowtorching it so it can only go up.
No.
Yeah.
He's heating the surface. You do not know how much that blowtorch has penetrated into the center of that nut.
Well, I know that it's not a
maybe if he had, rather than have a propane torch, if he had an oxyacetylene torch where he got that nut to the point where it was almost dripping.
No,
where
you don't
it
need
was
to make
melted
it
to
molten,
where it was
George.
dripping, maybe they would behave
No,
differently. You
you're
don't know
lying.
that. This is an inconclusive experiment.
No, George, you are
This is
being
a
dishonest.
demonstration. This is
No,
not.
George, you are being dishonest.
No, I'm
George, you can see by the characteristics of the nuts that it's red, not yellow, all the way around. There's red around the outside.
on the surface. I agree on the surface, but you don't know about the interior.
Right, but when he carries on blowtorching it now, you can see that all of it
you
is
do
yellow.
not know about the interior.
You're lying, George. You are being intellectually
he's not lying.
dishonest.
Stop, right, I've got to put a stop to this, Anthony. I'm really sorry to do this to you, but you can't accuse him of lying. I don't know what the interior of that nut is. You don't know what the interior of that nut is. George doesn't. We've got to move on. We can't keep going around in circles. Sorry.
No, that's
Thank
bullshit.
you,
You're
Thank you.
ignoring the fact that he's still
Okay.
blowing the torch. On
All
the
right.
nuts.
Oh, okay. To make it go. All right. You're right. Everything's beyond the curie point. Next point. Okay.
Next point is this. First of all, you claim that it's swinging like a pendulum, but it's clearly demonstrating an attractive force towards the magnet. Now, if the iron in the core of the Earth is beyond its Curie point, the only way it can have its own magnetism...
Well, we can't. No, we can't go there because...
Well, you just accepted it and said move on, so I'm
Hold
moving on.
Anthony,
And
let
I'm
him
retracting
respond.
that.
Hold on, just let him respond. What were you going to say, George? No, we can't.
No,
What?
see, you're basing this next point on the fact that on the other point having to do with all points within the nut being at the
but you can see
the curie point.
Let's move on.
Well, I just did that to move on, but I didn't
So
know that.
we're moving on then, George. But the
Point
next
to move
point,
to the to base that on the next point. That's not going to work.
No, George, you agreed to move on, and we're moving on. So my next question is, you can see the attractive force. You know it's above the Curie point because you just accepted it, and we're moving on for the sake of moving on.
No. Well, I'm not going to go there because I just did that to make sure we could move on. I
Right,
just
but
went
then you
ahead
can't
and gave
stop
you
me
that
from
point
moving
so
on.
we could move on. No,
You can't
but
stop
it's
me from
not
moving on.
true.
And why is it you won't discuss it?
True. That's
Why
all.
is it you won't discuss it, George?
Well, look.
Why won't you discuss
It's been fun. I'm going to leave. This
Well,
is
hold on,
isn't working out.
hold on. So there was another issue that you said you would discuss at the end, which was the double standards in terms of assertions being made from a position essentially of ignorance, George.
Yeah. Has he gone or is he still here?
He's
I'm
still
here.
So the other point, which you now... Let's just for the record show that you won't talk about the final point because it destroys your argument that there's a molten iron core.
No, let's not
But my
concede that.
second
Right,
point-
hold on. I'm sorry, George, to cut you off. Right, this point may come back to it at a later point. George is not going to concede that. I hate to be... You're putting me in a position where I've got to defend George, hadn't you? God, just... Right, move on to your next point about Brian. He agreed he would talk about it. This point may come back up at a later stage. I'm taking it off screen. Hopefully you can move on to your next point
put it
about
back on
Brian and
screen.
the
Put it back
double
on screen.
standards.
Put it back on screen because it comes back to... All right, so George makes the claim originally in chat that it's a point, it's a worthless point because it's basically, it's silly that we should, we shouldn't
No,
be
I
talking
did
about this.
not say that having to do with the...
Yeah, but hang on, George. The merits of your point are irrelevant now because what the point of this is that on the one hand, you're criticizing Brian Mullin for holding out as some kind of licensed surveyor that shouldn't be talking about physics, yet you're doing the exact same thing.
There's a difference here. I was talking about fundamentals of physics that any engineer that has gone through undergraduate training should know.
Do they not build bridges out of iron anymore, then?
This is a more esoteric sort of discussion. This is not a fundamental point of physics. We're talking about how to add vectors, reference frames, like in his planes landing on a spinning ball, episode 1. That was total bollocks. I mean,
Hold on, why was that? Don't say it's total nonsense without anything to actually back it up, George. If we've got if we've got a rotating reference frame, right, that is what causes the Coriolis effect. So how can you assert that it's nonsense?
I'm sorry, I was talking at the same time you were. What could you repeat?
Yeah, sure. If we have Coriolis effect, we have to have a frame of reference that is separate to the rotating reference frame, i.e. the air is separate to the spinning Earth, correct?
But it had nothing to do with Coriolis effect and what he was presenting.
The Coriolis
in
effect,
episode 1.
by
He was using the
definition,
fact that the plane, because of the spinning Earth, would have a sideways vector of several hundred miles an hour, and it would be impossible for the plane to land.
Yes, well, I would agree with that on account of the fact that that is by definition what Coriolis effect is caused by. So you have the separate rotating frame of the Earth next to the atmosphere and everything in it, including planes. So why would that be nonsense? That's absolutely
no. Well, the difference here, Mr. Oakley, is that planes are not in free flight. It is powered flight. You have wings. You can control the plane, whereas with ballistic flight, like shooting a cannonball or a rail gun or something like that, that is in what we call ballistic flight, and it's not powered flight. The physics of the problem is totally different.
Well, no, the Coriolis effect is...
actually
sorry, I've just got two words out. So we have a separate rotating frame underneath the atmosphere and everything in it. Regardless of whether it's travelling through that atmosphere, the ball Earth that you presuppose is rotating underneath that. That is
but the thing is that rotating Earth is carrying the atmosphere with it.
No, it's not. It's a separate reference frame. Did you not understand how Coriolis works, George?
No, it's not. Actually,
sorry,
not.
Hold on one second. John, are you there? Can you bring up some of the definitions of the Coriolis effect? Because it seems George is ignorant of what the Coriolis effect actually is.
No, the Coriolis effect is if you shoot, say, a projectile.
Actually, John, I was just asking John if he can bring up the definitions, because you are wrong, George.
I'm going to tell you what the definition is.
You don't need to. I know what the definition is. You have a separate reference frame. That would be the sky and everything in it. That is separate to the rotating frame underneath. If it wasn't separate, you wouldn't have Coriolis effect.
The ballistic...
John, I'm waiting for John to speak. Sorry, George.
No,
I'm sorry, Nathan. I couldn't hear you, man. There's so much junk going on in here.
It's all right.
Were you asking me something?
Yes. Could you bring up the definitions of the Coriolis effect? Because George seems to think that the atmosphere is velcroed to the Earth.
You know, my policy after the last interaction with George was not to deal with him at all, but I will do it for you. I'm not speaking to the man.
You don't have to talk to him. If you can just bring up the definitions so I can point out where George is mistaken, that would be brilliant.
Okay. All right, Nathan, hold on a second.
To the projectile, it is traveling in a straight line, but relative to the surface of the Earth, with the Earth rotating, to a person standing on the Earth, it appears to be curving, because if you look...
Would you like me to read this, Nathan?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, for the Coriolis effect to exist, you must have, that is, the necessary conditions. Two differing frames of reference. One rotating coordinate system, that's non-inertial, the Earth, and one non-rotating coordinate system, inertial, the atmosphere, and everything in it. From Sigard Douglas, Introduction to Ocean Sciences, 2nd edition, Critical Concept Reminders, the Coriolis effect. When set in motion, freely moving objects, including air, that's atmosphere, and water masses, clouds and water vapor, move in straight paths while the Earth continues to rotate independently. Because freely moving objects are not carried with the Earth as it rotates, they're subject to an apparent deflection called the Coriolis effect. To an observer rotating with the Earth, freely moving objects that travel in a straight line appear to travel in a curved path on the Earth. Is that all you need, Nathan?
Yes, that's brilliant.
Wait. Leave that up.
Thank you.
Leave it up.
So we have two separate reference frames.
Would you please put it back up?
It's okay, George. We have two separate reference
No,
frames.
I want to read it.
Sorry, George.
I want
you don't. It's the definition. You can look it up later. I am telling you,
No,
not
no, I'm not
asking
gonna
you.
look it up later.
You don't
Look it
have
up.
to
I
respect
can-
the definition.
so I-
You can talk over me continually while I reassert something that I have corrected you on, George. The atmosphere is not velcroed to the Earth. It is not carried with the Earth. It is entirely a separate reference frame. Do you concede this, or will you tell me again incorrect information because you are wrong? And it is also what you are wrong in your assertion about Brian Mullin. So this is very critical that you accept the definition because you are wrong, George.
No, I can show you other sources.
Excuse me. We have two reference frames, George. Are you going to concede that that is the very nature of the...
goes along with the projectile of the bullet, and then you have another.
Calm down,
frame
George.
that
I know
is
you've got
attached
verbal
to the
diarrhea
surface
because you've
of
been
the-
shown to be wrong.
Surface of the Earth's reference
George,
frame
you've
is
got
a-
verbal diarrhea, my friend. Yeah, we have two reference frames. The Earth rotates independently underneath the atmosphere if we have a rotating
no, that's
Earth.
not correct. That
Excuse
is
me,
not
that
correct.
was the definition. We've just had it read out.
Well, that's that particular definition. But
Excuse
I can
me,
find
that
you
is,
other sources
there is a
that
series
will,
of definitions. There is
contradict
more than
that.
one. George, right? This is why Coriolis is Coriolis, because we have two reference frames, separate reference frames. So what you have attempted to debunk Brian and claimed it is bollocks,
No.
your exact words. Don't talk over me and say no. You claimed what Brian asserted was bollocks. It is not bollocks.
It is.
No.
Yes, it is.
By definition, you have a separate rotating frame of reference underneath the plane which travels through the air. That is, by definition, what Coriolis is.
No, you are using
Not
that.
no, it's on screen right now, being read out to you. You are incorrect. You asserted that the Earth is carried with the Earth. The atmosphere is carried with the Earth. It isn't,
I'll show you
George.
other sources that completely.
George, the atmosphere is not carried with the Earth, as you asserted.
Yes, it is. Yes.
No, I will read it for you. When set in motion, freely moving objects, including air, atmosphere, water masses, that means clouds and water vapour, move in straight paths while the Earth continues to rotate independently.
No, that's not true.
It says it is the definition of Coriolis.
No, that's John's particular.
No,
quote
it's not
mining
John's. It's a
involvement. I
cited
can find you
source.
other
It's
sources
not
that will-
John's. It is Sagard Douglas A. Introduction to Ocean Sciences, 2nd edition.
So?
Can you read? Read where it's cited. It's not John's. You are wrong again, in the same way you were wrong about what
said
Coriolis effect is. The atmosphere is absolutely, unequivocally not carried along with the Earth. You, George, are wrong. This is what you claim Brian Mullin was wrong about, and now you're arguing and talking over me because you're wrong.
You won't let me read it so that I can point out.
You don't need it read to you again for a third time. You're just wrong. You stated that the atmosphere is carried with the Earth. It is not. The Earth continues to rotate independently.
Nathan,
No,
Nathan,
that's not
listen.
true.
Nathan, listen, the link underneath, get John to click it and let's see whether George's claim that John's cherry picked is valid or is it accurate in context and the correct prose has been used. So let's click the link, John, and let's see what happens.
Anyway, well, that's coming up. Well, that's coming up. I want to address something regarding the.
No, you're not going to change this bloody subject. Right? How dare you? You were wrong, George. The Earth does not have an atmosphere carried along with it.
Yeah, just a minute. Let's just do it.
Not just a minute. You will concede.
No, I won't concede.
Yes, you are wrong. The Earth rotates independently of the atmosphere, unlike your incorrect buffoonery, your assertion that your fantasy sphere Earth carries the atmosphere with it. It doesn't.
I'm not here to debate flat Earth.
This is what this is. It's a flat Earth debate, you absolutely pathetic individual. What you have claimed you debunked Brian Mullin on, what you said was bollocks, you were wrong about. Do you get it?
No, I'm not wrong about it.
Yes, you are wrong. According to your bullshit religion of sphericity Earth, We have a reference frame that rotates independently. It does not carry the atmosphere along with it, as you assert. You are wrong.
It does. Yeah.
Yeah, you're wrong.
There, 2 different frames.
Why are you muttering? Concede that your assertion that the Earth carries the atmosphere along with it is false, wrong, buffoonery. You don't know your own religion.
Well, actually, I do.
Oh, you know your own religion, do you?
Yeah.
Well, why have you asserted that on a sphere Earth that rotates, it carries the atmosphere when it states clearly that it rotates independently? I tell you why, because you are wrong.
No, I'm not.
Tell me how it carries the atmosphere along with it.
It's because there is friction between the surface.
Excuse me, that is not what causes Coriolis. Coriolis is having a separate reference frame. Don't tell me about what you believe the Earth does. Excuse me, by definition, you are contradicting the Coriolis effect. The Coriolis effect is real, and it is not the atmosphere being carried along with the reference frame.
The principle is very easy to demonstrate. Is you take a bucket of water.
I don't need an explanation. I need you to concede that if the Earth is turning, which it isn't, and a sphere, which it isn't, it would have Coriolis effect, as asserted by globehead scientists. If this was the case, you would have a separate reference frame. The Earth turning underneath the atmosphere, planes, and everything in it. Separate, not connected, not being dragged along, separate.
Actually not. No, the atmosphere moves along pretty much with the surface of the Earth, and it will carry particles suspended in the atmosphere along with it. That's why.
Excuse me, that defies the definition of the Coriolis effect, because then you don't have separate reference frames.
No, you do have separate reference frames. You have the reference frame of a projectile, which is in its own reference frame, an inertial reference frame, and then you have the rotating reference frame attached to the surface of the Earth.
Sorry, if it's attached, it's not separate. Do you know the difference between those two words, George?
I didn't say attached. I didn't say.
You said attached. Don't bloody lie to me.
No, I said the reference frame, rotating reference frame, is attached to the.
It's not! You absolute idiot!
I didn't say it was attached to the.
You did! What kind of double-speaking moron are you? You literally said it 5 seconds ago.
There's a reference frame attached to the projectile, and then there's a rotating reference frame attached to the surface of the Earth.
It's not attached. You complete idiot. It is separate. That is what Coriolis effect is.
Yes.
So, oh, finally, we get a concession. So, it is not attached. It is separate.
Yes. Yes, the two reference frames are independent of one another.
So when Brian Mullin asserts that the separate reference frame would travel underneath the aeroplane, he's absolutely correct, because they are separate, not attached reference frames, George. You complete idiot.
Okay.
Yes, okay. Finally a concession from the complete idiot who has tried to ruin a man's career based on his incorrect understanding of the Coriolis effect. You disgust me.
Okay, I disgust.
You disgust me. You are wrong about your assertion about Coriolis. You are wrong about your religion about the Earth being a sphere. You are just an idiot. Yeah, I'll take a deep breath and round the show out after that. Makes my blood boil, I've got to be honest, but after 10 seconds of taking a breath, I think I'm just about content enough to round out this show. So with that, I will say a first and foremost huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the debating panel for making this debate possible, and also a massive thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in and hopefully sharing the show. If you hated the show, hopefully not, you'll share it with a friend or subscribe if you've not done so already. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
what a day! What a lovely day!